Hello and welcome or welcome back. This is a pre-message here that we've already laid out. Thank you so much for joining. My name's Dina. This is Impressive Warrior. Thank you. So speaking of Empress energy, we do have the Empress card in this Izzy Ivy deck that I forget the name of. It's listed below. It says Naga of the Golden Lotus, the Empress. And some of you know what the Naga is. It's talking about the projected Kundalini energy that rises up through from the base of the spine all throughout the systems and chakras, awakening the entire energy. The Kundalini awakens the Merkaba, the entire auric shield, the entirety of the subtle bodies and physical bodies, and the energy moves upward through the crown and outward into the astral planes. So we're talking about a very empowered creator here because it comes out with this beautiful dragon energy. And from the same deck, we had 22 Kundalini Creatrix, Ace of Light Codes. So light codes also showing that extension from the crown up into the cosmic energies, and up is relative, subjective, whatever you want to call it. It's talking about moving beyond the mind, which is a concept in a card in one of these decks by Izzy Ivy that keeps coming out, beyond the mind. And the Kundalini Creatrix and Naga together are talking about how we create from the astral planes. And I wanted to, before moving into the other message, because there's two messages working together, I wanted to say that with the connected, combined Art of War Tao Te Ching deck here, I kept getting consider the cost of an argument underneath the deck. And so it's talking about, is it really necessary to prove our point or to become of one mind with another individual? Or is it something that we can just allow each other to just go our separate ways about or do our own feeling and thinking about? I'm not sure what this means for you, but could be a situation arising where you have a point that you'd love to press home, but is somebody just on their own path and we just need to accommodate or choose a different way to spend our energy? Lead by example was the one that actually remained on the deck here. While families, could be a family issue, do not have leaders and employees and are not really organizations, they could be considered a small not-for-profit business. Successful parents lead by example, setting out roles, boundaries, standards of behavior, and expectations with clear communication, and enforcing rules with kindness. They value input from their children and are keen to make joint decisions with them. I would say that one is relevant to my own life since I have a teenager. As far as, like, when I was raised, perhaps the way you were raised is different than your value system that's emerging with your own ability to mentor, whether it's in any type of group concept or whether you have your own children. Or even parenting your own inner child. Let's be real. I mean, the way that we speak to ourselves, and are we going to be punitive and shaming and disciplining to ourselves and making ourselves earn every little piece of self-respect, shred of self-care type of pushing, overdoing? So lead by example, and if you want others to show you kindness and to tolerate your own, whether it be your personality traits or your eccentricities, if you expect to be met with respect and tolerance in this world, then we sometimes have to have some level of grace and not press a point with somebody else who is just the way that they are, whatever conscious level they're at, is infinitely perfect, especially if they're family. You know, is it worth it? In the end, especially if it's an aging parent. Values are meant to clash for some reasons, but we don't need to make it into the rest of the story. It doesn't need to end like that, I'm hearing. The back of the deck, Sun Tzu said, captured soldiers should be kindly treated and kept. Ooh. I I want to just quickly leave this one piece. I'm feeling that somebody may be caring for an elderly parent, or this might be part of the past, present, or future. And it was something that, or your parents may have cared for their parent, your grandparents, or something such as this. When somebody is within our care, and it could also be our children or our employees or our friends and colleagues, when we have some level of power or influence, it's always part of our quest for integrity when we really are able to ask for understanding and those type of things. So I don't need to say too much about this. It is what it is. These two flew off the deck. I will apologize if you guys hear the road noise, and I'll tell you a quick story. Sorry for the interruption. Earlier, this road grader, if you know what a road grader is, comes down the rural gravel roads and scrapes it, and tries to cover up the chatter bumps. This guy's coming down the road. It's super loud. I can hear it from several country doors down, and right in front of, not in front of the vehicle in the road, but few hundred feet in advance of where this guy is at in the road on my property in the grass, there's this family of geese honking, and they've got maybe like four little goslings, and they were kind of surrounding them and hustling them to the side of the road, just honking and carrying on. There were two geese on the other side of the road, just distressed because they were split. Anyways, maybe that's a metaphor for somebody, but that story ended well. Everybody crossed the road. The road grader guy seemed to be highly aware of this, and they went into my creek and settled down. Back to business. Sun Tzu said, what enables the wise sovereign and the good general to strike and conquer and achieve things beyond the reach of ordinary men or strategies is foreknowledge. So you know something in advance, you understand how something is potentially going to play out, or how receptive somebody is to your point, or, is it something that is like is it really necessary at the end of the day? What's to be achieved? What's the objective? So yeah, take the long view. I couldn't have said it better. Foreknowledge is an awareness of something before it happens. Such knowledge is very important because it gives us the peace of mind of knowing that the world will not end tomorrow. And hopefully this isn't the end for somebody if they're aging or ill. We want to make sure that we mend things that could or would or should be mended in good time. That was also one of the messages that came out in advance. It's also how civilizations went from the horse and cart to the jet airliner in 100 years. Foreknowledge is how we use the promise of today to change and continue with what we do today. So something is helping you to see what it's worth, why it's valuable to you, why are you making the choices you're making, and therefore you can really sink your teeth into something and do it with the right gusto and energy behind it. 13, beautiful number. Success is as dangerous as failure. Their hope is as hollow as fear. What does it mean that success is as dangerous as failure? Whether you go up the ladder or down it, your position is shaky. When you stand with your 2 feet on the ground, you will always keep your balance. What does it mean that hope is hollow as fear? Hope and fear are both phantoms that arise from thinking of the self. When we don't see the self as the self, what do we have to fear? See the world as you are. See the world as yourself. Have faith in the way that things are. Love the world as yourself. Then you can care for all things. So you're being asked to care about something with perhaps what it's coming through as for some is someone who is either elderly or fixed or stubborn, somehow set in their ways. They're whether it's rigid thinking or if it's just some type of stance or view that's right for them, we're being told to let it lie and potentially state our case from a position of some type of neutrality and grace, or set a boundary or safe topic zone, like we can't talk about religion and politics, Dad, for instance, something such as that. 11:11 on the timer there. So let's get on to the other pre-messages here. From this deck here, the Return to Spirit deck, we have a bit of a developing storyline. We've got recognizing when divine guidance has touched us so that we can understand when we're actually in the flow of higher guidance with confidence, and to it's like recognizing the sacredness within our process without requiring anybody else to know it or see it or witness it, understand it, acknowledge it, validate it in any type of a way. It comes through that if we can just trust what is quite simple and repetitive, that's the voice of our guidance. It's the voice of consistency and affirmation. The yes voice, I'm not talking about the one that says we need the, some type of extra indulgence. That's not the voice of temptation is different for a different time, but that clear and consistent message of, even if I'm feeling like somebody who had to grow through a circumstance where somebody was less emotionally available in some type of caretaking capacity, like they had their chance to, let's say it's a parent, raise us, and now it is our turn to return the favor, and we are cleansing ourselves in advance of any type of residual resentments, in advance of that potential, so that we can make the most of our time here and now, is the way that I feel this is coming through. And it can be much more difficult for some of you than it is for somebody like myself. I mean, I have my own gripes, but I don't have the things that some of you have that are standing in the way of forgiveness and tolerance and things such as that. So heal in your own time and ways, but even if that's just journaling to yourself to really free write and get yourself to draw out almost physically some of the thoughts and feelings that arise when this individual comes into your mind and into your energy and your space. It's as if our so-called pain body is vibrating with some type of I'll just leave it as resentments, bitterness, misunderstandings, and karmic entanglements that we really want to heal, so that we don't have to come around and do this hamster wheel healing with more individuals, or with this individual's in next life, whatever you are imagining this case. But it comes through with fearless and change of mind. So it could be something that you never in a million years would have thought that you would feel like you had more to heal about this dynamic or this thing that's coming to your mind. But there's now this urge to surfacing. Yeah, it could be even a repressed emotion with surfacing storm and intuition buried below the deck. What's here? Fearless change of your mind, birthing and feline. Yeah, there's something very instinctual coming through about the story of your origin, the context of your birth, or the energies that created you and what you are bringing into this world. And it's almost like with this fearlessness here, we could really be talking about karma, dharma, because of this channel and many other things here. Yeah, so the divine is asking us to reconsider um, and reopening some type of thing that has been transformative in our lives, to fearlessly dig back into that and say, I really want to heal this so deeply that I can even, in fact, wish it well, if that makes sense. To sometimes I've practiced this with my enemy frenemy energies, is really understanding that to wish them well is to interrupt their cycle of misery. So sometimes wishing them well is perhaps the only thing that can rock them awake. I don't know what that thing is for each person and what story and context surrounds that, but let's show you a little bit more here. The cards that popped out here in these code cards here: remembrance, unique gifts, and radical expansion. That's another dragon there. So that's like the third dragon. And this one almost coming from the heart space. So this is looking like a radical healer, a demon slayer type energy. So somebody who's really invited their shadow out to play and has really integrated quite a bit about who you are and who you are not in this world. It's like you've had this radical expansion, perhaps even more recently here, where you're remembering something. Oh yeah, remembering could be something repressed or suppressed, like your identity or your magic with this mediumship card here. But you're being told that you are gaining the knowledge and the resources that you need to renew yourself. You're getting this restful renewal, and then tickled by the free spirit, the muse showing itself under the deck, and snow is under here. I think this is an exciting change for you, and passion is under the deck here. So there's also this connection too with the Kundalini, is an expression of ultimately that connection to the earth herself, tantric journey below that. It's perfect. It's so perfect. And I see water flow, and realm bridger remains from the earlier reading. Beautiful. So the earth and the root chakra are gathering energy and flowing upward, and it can often, Kundalini and Tantra is the expression of that sacred life force energy, and whether it's coming through as physical passion or your spiritual passions, or the essence and spark of divinity taking firm anchor and a root within the center of you with this activation, there's this, I want to call it aggressive energy being summoned, where there's something either passionate or seductive or aggressive or angry that is kind of shaking loose here. And because of the context of, is it worth the argument, this is really what we're talking about here, is instead of proving that point and somehow escalating some type of situation, we're divinely placed within this situation and context to remember what something felt like and to transmute the energy of lack or neglect or scarcity, disloyalty, any of those things, into wishing well. You know, the mirror that we hold for other people, if we stop rebounding, I just looked down at this candle. The grace of the Mother is with us in this moment. The grace of prayer in the moment. Yes, that's right. This came up in conversation yesterday about how sometimes I truly believe that in the moment, because I am so aligned with the breath of the divine, with the breath and the hope and the inspiration for prayerful deliverance and sacred and life and love force energy and life force energy. Let's say, for instance, driving down the road, little squirrel jumps out in the road quite often here. And I can always, slam on the brakes and swerve a little bit. But I sometimes feel that it's sometimes the power of literal prayer in the moment, in the quantum space, that can shift the literal reality, fabric of reality, from under my wheel to whoosh, like a Tai Chi or Feng Shui movement, just whoosh. And this is what I'm sensing with this radical expansion of you making a different choice. You didn't used to have a choice, but now, faced with the ability to get your retribution, the passion goes in a different direction, towards healing, towards life, towards saving and forgiveness, and thus cleansing, clearing, and concluding karma in the moment, and beginning to like stop the wheels in their timing and then move them forward again. That was 2222 on the timer. It's giving that, like something was spinning in reverse. It was spinning out and gaining control in the moment, taking the helm and bringing it back with subtlety, grace, and distinct, empowered boundaries. And that's the Naga of the Empress that comes through this golden lotus, this radiant self-expression of such sovereignty in great measure that there's nothing to fight about, there's nothing to prove. It's all about it. I mean, you show yourself. It's like it precedes you. And so you can even heal something beyond space and time with this type of connected mindset by summoning that energy. And so if for you this is talking about spiritual divine contact and kundalini release experience, this can absolutely be bringing in an extreme remembrance of different timelines, different dimensions for some of you that are like myself and a little bit out there with bridging other realms into this one. Don't worry about how weird you sound sometimes. The more connected and released and in the sacred flow, ooh yes, and in your authority, the more the alchemical ability to shift time and space, because alchemy is actually turning lead into gold, infinite self-realization, revealing itself under that. That's the golden empress, the lead into gold, moving the squirrel, moving the car off of off of the spot to, inhuman feats, furred and feathered friends, Some of you may be communicating with other realms, other animal beings. Yeah, like embodying and embracing even the mystical. Let me clear my throat and get this drink. Oh, I've been on camera that whole time. That's fantastic. I'm posting this video anyways. Apologies. I was just really thinking about switching the decks here. And seeing what comes out. So we're getting stealth, tactics, and games. It's almost like you know somebody's antics because they're operating a lot of times from their inner child, especially with what they say and what they do. This could be somebody with dark features or hair, complexion, eyes. They're wanting to come and see you. To stir the pot is kind of what I'm thinking and feeling here. Perhaps they don't really have malicious intent. This is something, though, that we were feeling was just kind of part of who they were. Let's see any advice that we can get from Spirit. Joy, okay, there's something. It looks like you're happy to see them. Third eye chakra, this is something about your perspective. Repressed and reclaim your power. Yeah, it seems like you're happy to see them. They're happy to see you, but it looks like they, with their antics, it looks like you're going to be able to have this moment where you have your radical self-expansion right there in real time. And somebody's mouth may be left kind of hanging open, but I think that you're going to have the right thing to say in the right moment if you can keep your cool and not be triggered, because I don't think that people listen to us when we're triggered. I'm going to need to clear that throat. It's, yeah, repressed. That's the message. It's something that you really need to be firm about and consider in advance what the message is going to be. Your ancestors are sending you signs and synchronicities about what the lesson is in all of this and how to stand up for your own truth and stand in your power, to root very deeply and stand firm. You're giving somebody an awakening, a wake-up call about, like, oh boy, this is a toughie. Excuse me for the abrasiveness if this hits you hard, but it's like somebody wants to remain a certain way, but it's as though it needs to be given to them very gently. Do you want to die alone, or do you want to be correct? Or, you already know. Trust your gut instincts about the way that you need to set a boundary with another individual. It's something that has to be planted like a new seed of potential within somebody to catch the spark. Yeah, there's that dragon spirit. Beautiful. And soul star chakra, 5555. Something's really changing, possibly within a family dynamic and with somebody's inner child space and their power and control dynamics being at play here. And this is hopefully putting them, I feel like you've already gone through this diamond code activation, and that's what is summoned up when you have to speak or act or define some type of limit or new sheriff in town type of idea, and to transmute something that has created great stress, that triggers your old trauma into some type of jewel that shines through. And then we have alchemy and elementals here with Mother Gaia showing up. You're transforming a situation from lead into gold, or from charcoal through stress, activating into the crystalline diamond encoding. You're taking a lot of responsibility here, and you're not being falsely led by somebody's guilt or shame or tactics. You're standing firm in your self-worth and your deserving nature here. Somebody isn't going to speak to you in a certain type of a way. So I hope that helped you. Anything else wanting to come through? We do have spring and autumn with the changing of the seasons. So somebody's entering a new season of their life, could be their last years of their life, and it seems like you want to mend some type of a bond with somebody so that you can enjoy this time and space with them. Hilarion says that there's a lot to be learned from this situation and from this individual, to not underestimate or focus on what's not pleasant about your interactions, but to really focus on, like, putting those differences aside so that you can build some type of beautiful time together, and translate the stories with each other, the stories of your soul, so that you can bond with each other, if that's possible in your situation, or to just release yourself for some type of old harmful karma, so that you can have these experiences with your families of choice and your people in your tribe. Will, wisdom, and mind. You have the authority and the understanding to manage something. You've done your research, like if this person's a narcissist or has some type of mental predisposition, you're able to work with another individual and to soothe and not clash wills, but to work together in some type of cooperative, affirming manner. Yeah, to get out of these ruins from the past. Exactly. Good. And to heal with Archangel Michael, your voice, and um, feeling protected and protecting your own space and your personal environment from somebody's critiques and projected energies.